Hey everyone, and welcome to the channel. If you like the content, be sure and like, subscribe, hit the bell icon. All those things help me grow the channel. Well, it could be argued that Indian motorcycle has lost their crown as the torque king. What do I mean by that is, for the last decade, Indian has clearly been winning the torque wars with Harley Davidson. And for this little video comparison, I'm really focusing on Street Glide, Road Glide, Chieftain, and Challenger. So if you go back to 2014, Harley Davidson was still running the 103 with about 105 foot-pounds of torque. That's when Indian came out with the Thunderstroke 111 at 119 foot-pounds of torque. So you're talking 105 foot-pounds of torque versus 119. All these numbers I'm giving you are coming from the manufacturer. Of course, they're at the crank. The numbers, both brands, would be lower at the rear wheel. Well, then Harley came out with the Milwaukee 8, the 107, with 111 foot-pounds of torque. But still, that didn't match the 119 foot-pounds of torque of the Thunderstroke motor. Then Harley came out with the 114 on the specials with 118 foot-pounds of torque. But by then, Indian had the 116 Thunderstroke motor with 126. So again, 118 versus 126. Then they started offering the 114 on the Ultra Limiteds with liquid cooled heads, increased the torque to 122. Still doesn't match the 126 foot-pounds of torque that you find on the Power Plus motor, the Thunderstroke motor. And now this year, 2024, Harley Davidson came out with a 117 as the base model for the Street Glide, Road Glide with 130 foot-pounds of torque, which beats the 126 foot-pounds of torque that you get on the Chieftain. But now if you throw the Challenger in the mix, the Challenger came out, I don't know, 4 years or so ago. Smaller motor, but tons of torque and horsepower. I mean, it was really the torque king at 128 foot-pounds of torque, and the Challenger Power Plus motor also has 122 horsepower. So it now is giving up a couple of foot-pounds of torque to the new Road Glide, but the new Road Glide with the 117 has 105 horsepower, with the Challenger has 122 horsepower. So we could argue which one has more power. I would say the Challenger overall, if you look at both torque and horsepower. Now the Harley's got a little more torque with that 117 motor than the Challenger, but it doesn't have near the horsepower. So how is Indian going to respond to this? What are they up to? Well, rumors are that Indian is coming out with a 112 Power Plus motor instead of the 107 that currently comes on the Challenger. And obviously the increase in cubic inches, we know, have an increase in power. Also, the rumor is this, instead of the 116 as the largest Thunderstroke motor, that Indian's going to be offering a 122 in 2025. And a couple of places you can find articles about this. One of them is motorcycle.com. That article came out a while ago. And then recently, topspeed.com has also got an article out about the larger Indian motors. And I think the rumors are true. I think they, I think they're going to step up their game. I mean, when you look at the Chieftain versus the Street Glide, the Street Glide is now winning the torque war. Now, Challenger versus the base model Road Glide. Road Glide has a couple of more foot-pounds of torque with that 117 motor, but the Challenger has way more horsepower. Again, the 122 horsepower versus 105. So competition's great. Now, I know people are going to say, well, what about the CVOs? What, going back these several years where I'll be making these comparisons. Yes, Harley's always done a great job with their CVOs by offering additional performance, but you're looking at $40-something thousand motorcycles. I mean, certainly today, if you buy that CVO ST Road Glide, it's got a stupid amount of torque and horsepower. But again, you're looking at a $40-something thousand motorcycle. Well, I'm just looking really at more like the base model bike. So I'm really eager to see what Indian comes out with. It is September 2024. I know a lot of manufacturers now wait till closer to the end of the year or first of the next year before they unveil models, but I hope they go ahead and unveil the models pretty soon. Indian's already unveiled their 2025 Scout. They did some subtle redesign on the Scout gas tank. And to me, the Scout gas tank was always very similar to the Challenger gas tank. So some of the subtle changes they made to the Scout gas tank, I hope that carries over to the Challenger. Obviously, the Challenger has a much larger gas tank than the Scout, but again, the shape of the tanks to me have always been very similar. So I'm real eager. I'm real eager to see how Indian's gonna, answer back, and I'm convinced they will. They're kind of on a 5-year development plan anyway, and you look at how long the Challenger has been out, it's kind of due an upgrade. Same thing with the Chieftain. I have reached out to a contact I have with Indian Corporate. I did a big Indian motorcycle event down in Texas back in, I forgot what year it was. I guess it was 2023. It was last year, that drew about 400 people. So I have a contact with Indian Corporate, and I asked that person to pass my name along because I would love to get my hands on one of these new Challengers, the 2025. I'm talking a little bit of a long-term where I can do a more thorough review of the motorcycle. So I love both brands. I want both brands to do well. I've gone back and forth between the two brands. In a perfect world, I would own both at the same time. Maybe one day that will happen. When I first bought my first Indian, I kept my Harley, and back in 2017, I had both, and maybe that'll happen again. But I love both brands. The competition is good for us as consumers. Both of these manufacturers would make improvements without the competition, but they would do it, I think, at a much slower pace. So comment down below. Do you think the rumors are true? Do you think Indian's going to up their game? Do you think they're going to come out with the larger Thunderstroke and a larger Power Plus motor? And will they reclaim their title as the torque kings when it comes to big touring baggers? I would argue really that when it comes to a manufacturer performance bagger, that Challenger, when it came out, I mean, it just destroyed the base model Road Glide in comparison. So it's going to be fun to watch. If Indian gives me a Challenger for a long-term review, I'll certainly be posting videos. I'm certainly hoping they will do that. We'll see. My channel is a small channel, so they probably don't know I exist, other than I did reach out to someone that I know there with Indian Corporate. So be sure and stay with my channel and see if I get a chance for a long-term review. I'm convinced they're going to come out with these larger motors. Supposedly, folks have seen some internal documents suggesting patents on larger Indian motors, so it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. I love watching the King of the Baggers races with the Indian and Harley out there, duking it out. And again, the competition is good for us as consumers. But remember, if you like to ride as much as you can, because one day we're all going to be too old to ride.